If I were fortunate enough to be Speaker of the House, I would run the House differently. And I don't just mean differently than the way Democrats are running it today. I mean differently than both Democrats or Republicans in the past.
All right, there's Minority Leader John Boehner making his tryout for Speaker of the House, hoping to become also the tannest Speaker we've ever had in that post.
Top Line starts right now.
Welcome to ABC News Top Line. I'm Amy Walter.
And I'm Jonathan Karl.
All right, as you know, each day we bring you the latest in politics and political developments every day. Of course, I'm also screwing up today's Top Line because I'm in a new chair.
You are in a new chair. You are in the Klein chair. He apparently is on his second vacation in the month of August. Is that right?
Wow.
Anyway, we should get right to it.
We should go right to it. I'm going to do my very first Top Line. All right, inside job establishment candidates like Senators Lisa Murkowski, John McCain, Congressman Kendrick Meek on the ballots today, primary day. All expected to win. That's at least what we're hearing on the ground. Whatever happened to the outsider thing that we'd been talking about earlier this year? However, I do wonder if this says more about the fact that voters are suddenly in love with incumbents, or the fact that the outsider candidates themselves were pretty flawed.
Yeah, and you know, and the votes haven't been counted yet, but it sure looks like each one of these, establishment candidates is actually going to win. But sometimes that happens.
There are surprises. The one that could be the biggest Florida governor still seems like the pure toss-up. We don't really know between McCollum and Scott.
And don't forget, John McCain may win, and he may win by 30 points if the most recent polls are to be believed, but he had to spend $21 million to get there. So
but he was happy to do it.
Yeah, he was very happy to do it. All right, next up, Palin test. So now today we will learn, well actually polls close at midnight, but we will learn whether or not Sarah Palin has any political clout in her home state. Palin has weighed in big time in the Senate GOP primary up in Alaska, coming out strongly against the incumbent Republican Senator Lisa Murkowski. And Amy, take a listen to this robocall that Palin did that's been out today. Not only supporting her candidate, Joe Miller, but viciously attacking Lisa Murkowski.
He's got the backbone to confront Obama's radical agenda. By contrast, Lisa Murkowski has voted with the Democrats more than any Republican up for re-election this year. She waffled on the repeal of Obamacare, co-sponsored cap and trade, and voted for TARP.
Now, I tried to get an official response from the Murkowski campaign. They're still getting back to me. I asked them, late yesterday, so we'll see.
Well, there's a time difference in Alaska.
But privately, they say they're mystified by this.
Right, because it's very clear that Murkowski is popular. Yeah. She's leading by big numbers. Miller's not exactly the candidate who's caught fire. He's not. I mean, I know he's anti-establishment, but in this case, he's really sort of anti-establishment. Yeah. So it just seems like all she's doing here is poking the Murkowski family in the eye, more than anything
Apparently
else.
Enjoying it.
Yes, indeed. All right. As we noted earlier in this show, Congressman Boehner, of course, doing his tryout for the speaker. Now we have pundits like Charlie Cook and others declaring that Republicans are more likely than not to take over the House. Here's his first chance to roll out what an administration, well, not administration, but what a Congress would look like under the leadership of Boehner. The White House, though, really quick to respond, which I found interesting. Yeah. Rather than basically just letting him go off, give this speech, it wouldn't get as much attention, but for the fact that the White House pushed back. Is this because they're nervous that this is actually gaining traction, or they just want to undercut any talk that they're about the House flipping?
Well, they come out really early with this. You have Dan Pfeiffer out with his blog this morning, the vice president eager to respond as well. But they seem to think that Boehner is a good guy to demonize, to say this is Mr. Republican Washington insider, this is going back. But I'm not so sure. I mean, he's not Newt Gingrich. Nobody in the country really knows who he is. It's kind of hard to turn him into the symbol of fear Speaker Boehner. But that clearly seems to be what they're trying to do.
Right, turn the insider thing back inside.
Back inside or on the other side. Yes, exactly. Next up, no thanks. Poor Agriculture Secretary Vilsack. He has groveled, he has apologized, he has fallen on his sword, he has begged, he has pleaded. He spent an hour and a half meeting with Sherrod today, an hour and a half, almost 2 hours meeting with her, asking her to please take a job at the Agriculture Department, and she said no. They held a joint press conference after that interminable meeting.
Aren't there a lot of things that the Ag Secretary needs to be doing rather than spending 2 hours on a personnel issue? I'm still trying to get my email to work, and he spent 2 hours meeting with that. So I find that quite remarkable. And yet another example of how the administration, there's going to be another story about how they look sort of off target, that they're sort of floundering, off message.
Maybe this one's finally over. I do want to make one final point here before we leave Top Lines. This would have been a perfect opportunity to mention the fact that there is a new candidate now officially in Wasilla running for mayor. And if Rick had been here, I know he would have insisted the Top Line 4 went over to Levy Johnson, who is now filed officially to run for mayor of Wasilla. But we're not going to mention that.
We aren't
above
because
that
we
now.
don't do things like that. We do the real stuff. All right.